Well, folks, last week I told you he was heating up. And this week, by the sunglasses, you can tell that this man is officially on a heater at the janitor's closet as we welcome you in for our weekly best bets show. Josh, Frey-Sam, sir, 3-0. You swept the slate. You left no crumbs on the plate. Sir, you're enjoying an 8-1 run. You're officially warm. You're seeing the field. That week one is fully past us now. We are plus 6.7 units on the season now. Josh, I'll give you the floor with that, man. How are you feeling coming off a massive week? You dominated the books.
Hey, appreciate it, man. We dominated the books, and yeah, it was a great week, man. Really happy that things kind of worked in our favor there, and that was really nice. It felt like we were it was us against the world in a sense, being on the Vikings -3 there. A lot of people, after seeing Jake Browning the way he performed the week in week two, there, a lot of people were thinking. This got to be the Bengals here, especially with Carson Wentz at the helm. So it was nice that came through for us. And then obviously we gave away that teaser for Sunday Night Football, and then so that's all the more reason for people to give us a follow on X and in our newsletter and stuff like that. And then obviously we had the Ashton Genty prop, which got a little close, but honestly, really for a prop, all said and done, wasn't breaking too much of a sweat with that one. So it was really nice week all in all, man. Hopefully we can just keep it going here. Like we're like you said, 8-1 run, feeling good about things, and hopefully, but it's a new week, and we know that this betting world can humble us real quick. So let's keep this thing rolling.
Yes, sir. The most important bet is the next one. Josh, you alluded to our free newsletter right there. Some of these plays we're about to go over, folks. Some of our viewers have already placed at the numbers that Josh and I have placed them at, and that's because they're subscribed to our free newsletter, which you can find in the description of this video. And if you want to do us a favor right here on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot of cappers, that do football, other sports that are charging for their picks. Some are charging $1,000 for the season. Some are,
Mm.
it's a monthly subscription. We're getting the football mind of Josh Frey-Sam for absolutely free of charge. You're getting all of our plays for the NFL season. That's the best deal you're going to find. It costs you guys nothing to hit that like button for him, hit that subscribe button. We're on an 8-1 run, making you guys some money for the NFL season. We appreciate that support from you folks. Now, without further ado, Josh, we got 4 plays today, 7 units. We're recording this on September 25th. Thursday, we have the Thursday night football game happening in a mere couple of hours.
Yeah.
And we do have some action in that game. Why don't we start with that one? Get that game out of the way here.
Yeah, no doubt. So we got the Seattle Seahawks taking a trip to the Arizona Cardinals here in the desert. It's a little bit of NFC West action. The play here, Bryce, is Seattle +1 for 2 units here. A couple of layers to this one that I'll kind of go through in this. I'll get it out of the way right now. I've warmed up to Seattle since late in the preseason and through the early goings of the regular season here. This is a team that Mike Macdonald is a damn good football coach, and he is going to have this team week in, week out playing at a high level. I'm not saying the Seattle Seahawks are going to go run the table or anything like that. I'm not saying they're going to be in legitimate NFC contention or anything like that with Sam Darnold as their quarterback. But what I do know is that throughout this regular season, the Seattle Seahawks are going to be a tough out each and every single week. And so that's a team that I don't mind backing on a week-to-week basis. With all that being said, we're taking Seattle +1 in this spot here. Obviously a short week on the road. 2 things that people are not a fan of, and a divisional game. Well, the Seattle Seahawks, Mike Macdonald has been great in this spot in his short time as a head coach and his little over a season as a head coach. Seahawks were 4-2 within the division last year, and Mike Macdonald gets his team ready for these road games, man. 7-1 on the road last year, dude. Like Mike Macdonald, first-year head coach, having his team amped up, ready to go for road games like this all of last year. It says something. It says something about what he's built over there at that program. And now the coaching's even better over there, right? You had first-year offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb last season, for example, calling the play. Now you got Clint Kubiak, obviously, at the helm there with his dynamic run game. So the coaching has been upgraded along with the talent around these coaches has been upgraded. When these two teams played last year, Bryce, the Cards were held to 16 and 18 points respectively in those games. And That's kind of telling me, I mean, Kyler Murray, obviously he's struggling with against this Mike McDonald defense a little bit, can't figure it out. Nice plus is, especially heading into this one, the Seattle Seahawks. This is both the Cardinals are coming off a tight loss against the San Francisco 49ers. The Seahawks are coming off an absolute bludgeoning of the New Orleans Saints over there at home there at Lumen. The nice plus heading into this one for us is Seattle Seahawks were able to rest their starters like most of the second half last week. So you're talking about a team that is, yes, on a short week, but kind of, sort of not almost. Their bodies aren't really feeling necessarily like it's on a short week, right? After being able to rest a lot of these starters last week. Couple of other notes. Sam Darnold playing in a dome tonight. We obviously love Sam Darnold in a dome in comparison to outdoors. That's a huge plus for us on the offense side of the ball and the ability for the Seahawks to put up points in this spot. I also look at the matchup between Kyler Murray and Mike McDonald, as I mentioned before. Seahawks are pressuring quarterbacks at a 29.3% clip right now, which is the fourth best in the NFL. And they're doing it, Bryce. The best part is they're doing it with the Philadelphia Eagle formula, baby. They're not even blitzing right now. They are blitzing at the fourth lowest rate in the league right now. So they are getting home with 4 rushers on most snaps, Bryce, on a third of their snaps. Kyler Murray, by the way, when he's been pressured this season, his passer rating drops to a little over 56. So this guy is obviously not handling pressure very well. I mentioned Sam Darnold in a dome in this spot here. His average depth of target right now, he's pushing the ball downfield, tied for 9th in the league in average depth of target, while the Arizona Cardinals are allowing the second most air yards to opponents this season. So you talk about a guy that's pushing the ball down the field, he's being aggressive with his throws, and the Arizona Cardinals, they're obliging. They're saying, hey, you know what, we'll let those big yards go. I think there's going to be an opportunity in this game for the Seattle Seahawks offense to kind of generate some explosives in this spot. A couple of other notes here that I wanted to get here that I wrote down. The play calling of offensive coordinator Drew Petzing for the Arizona Cardinals has been under scrutiny this season, as it was kind of last season as well. I look at Marvin Harrison Jr., clearly is not being used properly, clearly is not playing with confidence right now, not being schemed open right now. You look at also on the offense side of the ball, yes, they got Trey Benson there, who I do think is a good running back, but more importantly, they don't have James Conner, who was obviously lost to that dislocated ankle or that terrible ankle injury that he suffered last week. And so the Cardinals, a little betting trend here that I think plays in well to this spot for us. The Cardinals have lost 5 consecutive games outright, which is this is actually kind of an interesting one. The Cardinals have lost 5 straight games in their game directly after facing the San Francisco 49ers, which is kind of interesting because you think about that one betting trend that was going around for a while, the Detroit Lion effect, right? Where they just beat up opponents and then the teams were bound to lose the next week. It's kind of interesting. I just wonder about the San Francisco 49er effect on this Arizona Cardinal team. There's something between these two teams that it just has not boded well for the Arizona Cardinals in the matchup after that. And so they've gone 4-18 straight up in that spot since 2012. Kyler Murray himself is 2-6 straight up after Arizona faces San Francisco. So all these things taken into consideration, Bryce, I simply think that Seattle Seahawks are the better team between these two clubs. I'm not buying what the Arizona Cardinals are selling right now on offense or on defense. I also look at defensively for the Seattle Seahawks. Leonard Williams might be playing as good of ball as just about any player in the National Football League right now. The Arizona Cardinals want to run the football to set up the pass, while the Seattle Seahawks have a stifling run defense, and this is going to be an interesting one for the Arizona Cardinals to move the football. So I look at that, combined with the fact we're in a dome, all that good stuff, man. I think that Mike McDonald gets his boys ready and up for this spot on Thursday Night Football in prime time. Seattle +1 for 2 units.
Okay, so some juice for our Thursday night football matchup here, hoping to bring a 2-unit win into the Sunday noon slate, where we're going to be looking at 2 games here. Josh, we start in the West. Let's head east, where the Falcons are heading north for a matchup with the Washington Commanders.
Heading east, the Falcons are heading north. All right, I got that. And where all of our plays are based in the South. I got you, baby. Washington Commanders are traveling to the Atlanta Falcons. Actually, no, this game's in Atlanta.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. That's sorry. I'm all confused here. No, you're good. We're good.
With the compass.
Washington Commanders are heading south, just to confirm. They are going to Atlanta, Georgia there. Atlanta +1 for 1.5 units is the play here, Bryce. So a couple of layers to this one because there are some big injuries that we need to take into account. Jaden Daniels is up in the air right now, although he's saying he's feeling good, and so he thinks he's good to go and ready to rumble. Well, the doctor still got to clear him to go play still. Could be Marcus Mariota, could be Jaden Daniels in this game, and maybe even most importantly of them all, actually, no, not most importantly, second most importantly of it all, Terry McLaurin is not looking that great to suit up for this one. And quite frankly, man, this could be something that lingers throughout the rest of the season, if I'm being honest. So we'll see Terry McLaurin. But anyways, as far as this one is concerned, and Atlanta +1 being our play, Washington put up 41 points, and Marcus Mariota looked great last week. That was also against one of the worst defenses in the NFL in the Las Vegas Raiders there, who might just be second to the Dallas Cowboys as far as you're looking at the bad units there this season. This is a much bigger test. This is a step up in class against a Atlanta Falcons defense that has surprised a lot of people on that defensive side of the ball this season. Yes, the Atlanta Falcons just got 30-pieced by the Carolina Panthers this week. That was not because the defense played poorly. Let me get that straight, okay? In the second half, the Carolina Panthers had drives start at the Atlanta 45, Atlanta 30, and Atlanta 44 to pull away in the game because of Atlanta turnovers, okay? So Atlanta has been an average run defense, but a top 5 pass defense this season, and so I do not expect the same level of efficiency from Marcus Mariota if he were to play in this spot. I mentioned injuries here. Terry McLaurin doesn't look good for this game. This regime, Bryce, of the Washington Commanders with Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury calling plays here, they have not had to prepare for a game yet without Scary Terry out there. He's been kind of an Iron Man for this team. So I think it's natural to wonder, how are the dynamics of this unit going to change? Probably for the worse without Scary Terry out there. They got to prepare for a constant that's been out there. They got to prepare for life without a guy who's been a constant out there on the field for them week in, week out. I mentioned Jaden Daniels as well. Might play, might not play. Even if he does play, Bryce, I'm not going to lie, him being without his number one target likely in this game, and the fact that Jaden Daniels probably going to see a decrease in his mobility, you're talking about an offense in the Washington Commanders that is probably going to be without its two greatest weapons here largely in this game, which is Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels' legs, right? So we're talking about two of the biggest weapons. As far as other injuries, maybe other notable ones, Trey Amos, the rookie corner, also up in the air for the Commanders secondary that's already not playing very well this season. So, and then for Atlanta, the biggest one is AJ Terrell, who is not looking good for this game. But if Scary Terry doesn't play, then I'm not nowhere near as concerned about AJ Terrell missing this game. Here's the thing with this one, Bryce. We're buying into a spot here, okay? Sometimes you're buying into a number, other times you're buying into the number and the spot. This time we're buying into the spot, okay? The spot here is really a desperation / get right / bounce back game for the Atlanta Falcons here. And why do I believe that this is a prime opportunity for all that? Reporters are asking Raheem Morris about whether Michael Penix Jr., if he should still be the starting quarterback. All right, like we're having a conversation about Kirk Cousins coming in, okay? Which is no, it's Michael Penix's job, okay? Let's get that clear, okay? Here's the thing that I'm buying into. Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, he's going to be moving down from the booth to the field level in order to improve communication between him and Michael Penix Jr. this week. The Falcons also fired their wide receiver coach this week. Okay, so they're making changes. This is a spot that, so with all of that, I'm kind of buying into this urgency, this desperation, if you would, for the Atlanta Falcons, who just put up 0 points against almost a hapless Carolina Panthers defense, right? This is a spot in which I expect the Atlanta Falcons offense to play with a bit more urgency and kind of hold up their end of the bargain. Last thing I'll throw at you here as far as a betting trend, the Falcons might close as a dog of +1.5 or higher here in this spot. What we have yet to see what the line closes at, of course. We got it at +1. But after losing by 30+ points the week before, those teams since 2003 are 112, 72, and 7 against the spread. A 61% clip they're hitting the following game spread at since 2003, dude. So you talk about a spot here that's proven to be, successful for taking that underdog in. This is kind of the spot. So I'm liking the Falcons here. We're buying into the spot. Falcons +1 for 1.5 units.
All right, well, we heard Michael Penix this week say he needs to throw the ball to the wide open receivers. We're going to look for him to do that against the Commanders this week. Josh, a team that is heading north. I
Sure.
think I got this one right.
I think
Will
so.
be the Carolina Panthers, who you just mentioned, put up that very impressive victory against the Atlanta Falcons. This week, they're going to face a New England Patriots team.
Yeah, so we're double dipping in this game actually. Okay, so I'll explain we got a side and we got a prop in this one. The side here, we're going New England Patriots. We got the home team here, Bryce. New England -5.5 for 2 units is the play. New England, like Carolina, is kind of coming off actually, Bryce. You mentioned that, Carolina, I would actually kind of in a sense disagree that with the whole that Carolina's win was impressive over Atlanta. This is why. Okay, like let me just explain this one. I think that the box score told a different story than the final result in this in Carolina's game and New England's game. New England. I mentioned that Carolina, where they were kind of starting each and every possession in the second half here. I mean, Bryce Young still isn't playing good ball this season. He ranks 30th out of a possible 36 quarterbacks in EPA per play here among quarterbacks with at least 25 snaps. In the second half, I mentioned where they were starting their drives and were able to pull away against the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, this was because of Atlanta Falcons turnovers, and it wasn't because Bryce Young was dissecting the Atlanta Falcons defense. We've been talking about the Browns' rush defense and how good it's been. The New England Patriots are not far behind the Cleveland Browns as far as rush defense. They are second in yards per attempt. And if you're telling me that the New England Patriots can effectively erase Chuba Hubbard and force Bryce Young to be the guy to throw it here, I kind of like our chances. Here's the big thing. Here's kind of the big kicker for the New England Patriots defense here, Bryce. They haven't been playing at full strength so far this season. They've had some trouble through the air. Part of the reason why they've had trouble defending the pass is they're missing one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League. Christian Gonzalez has been dealing with a hamstring injury, pardon me, and he's looking like he is set to return this year. You were talking about them potentially erasing Chuba Hubbard from the game plan. Now you're also talking about Teteroy McMillan, who's got a little bit of a calf injury that he's a little nagging calf that he's dealing with right now. Talking about Tet McMillan now going up against Christian Gonzalez. I like Christian Gonzalez in that spot. Talking about the two biggest weapons on the Carolina Panthers offense that, frankly, for me, I'm not buying what they're selling right now. I like our chances here. I mentioned about New England Patriots last game. New England's allowed New England's defense, this is a Christian Gonzalez obviously coming back here will boost the confidence of the defense, and this is a defense that has actually has the 4th most sacks in the National Football League this season, and so you're talking about a big boost to this defense. The New England Patriots, I mentioned the box score here. This is the last point I'll make on this. This to me screams a get-right game for the New England Patriots offense. You look at last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, in which they had a chance to win that game, but they fell short. New England had an interception at the Pittsburgh 2. They also had a fumble at the Pittsburgh 2. They also had another 2 fumbles happen in Pittsburgh territory. 4 times they fumbled last week, Bryce, along with the fact that Drake May was sacked 5 times. Okay, so you're talking about a couple of turnovers inside the 5-yard line and a couple of other ones inside scoring territory. This is, to me, such a step down in class for the New England Patriots after a rough outing. They're going to, I think, get right in this game. This is a good offense. They just had trouble taking care of the ball last week, and I just don't expect there to be 5 turnovers in this game once again. So I'm liking this from on both sides of the ball. New England -5.5 for 2 units. I mentioned we're double dipping in this game. We're also taking for a prop Hunter Henry over 38.5 receiving yards for 1.5 units. The explanation will be a little bit quicker on this one, Bryce. Hunter Henry leads this New England Patriots team in targets, receptions, yards, and touchdowns through 3 weeks. We saw this last year as well. Hunter Henry and Drake May have a strong connection. Yes, Stephon Diggs is there this season. Yes, they have Kyle Williams who's kind of percolating and waiting to get in. Yes, they've got Pop Douglas they got to feed as well. Stuff like that. There's not a big competition for targets right now as it stands at this very moment in the New England Patriots offense. Stephon Diggs will eventually begin to command more targets in this offense, but he is still trying to find his way, ramp all the way back up from that knee injury that he suffered. In the meantime, it's been Hunter Henry, and it'll continue to be Hunter Henry until that time comes. The matchup is about as juicy as it gets, dude. Elijah Avero's defense, Elijah Avero is obviously the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, has ranked bottom 3 in DVOA against tight ends in each of the last 2 seasons. And now, this season, you'd think, oh, maybe they'll change this season. No, they rank 31st in DVOA against tight ends. So this DVOA is defensive adjusted over average, which basically compares situations and performance against players and other situations of a defense compared to the rest of the league average, essentially. And so Carolina Panthers are performing well below, in fact, probably the worst, almost the worst of any team against a tight end over the last 3 seasons. And that's not changing. So you look at the connection between Hunter Henry. You also look at the fact that the New England Patriots are slinging the ball over expectation among the highest in the National Football League this year. So there will be lots of passes going off coming from Drake May's arm, pardon me. You look at that combined with the fact that Carolina Panthers can't defend it. Hunter Henry over 38.5 receiving yards for 1.5 units feels like a really strong play for us. And so we are going to take that to wrap up our best bet show. Lots potentially to come though.
Okay, as you mentioned, Josh, you were telling me maybe 3-4 plays, potentially some higher unit plays as well. So keep it locked on X at TJC Bets. Keep it locked to the newsletter, folks. 4 plays for our best bets for right now. But as always, Josh could fire off some more plays at any time. Mr. Frey-Sam here, 3-0 last week, 8-1 run. Let's keep this thing going, man.
Yeah, man, let's do it. And I'm looking for this should be another strong Sunday, man. I hope it's another strong Sunday, and we appreciate any of the support people are giving us here. It means a lot.
Yes, sir. All right, folks, I'll do it for this week. We appreciate you tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
Yep.